Hello, this is ZenView Studios Lab. Welcome to the channel. My name is Eric. We're gonna look at the repair of a Rotel amplifier RA840BX4. It came here because one of the channel wasn't working anymore, and we did repair it. We found out a few things in the process. I will explain to you what I found and what were the tricks. Anyhow, one thing led to another. After the repair, the channel which was repaired was still overheating. Actually, to my taste, it was not. It was working properly and the specs were okay, but it was not like the other channel. So I looked up on internet and found out that many of the Rotels of that age showed similar problems, and found a modification that we'll go over in another video. Anyhow, let's go directly to the schematics and the unit and see what went on. Here we go. So this is the Rotel RA840BX4. And you will see there are on this channel two resistors. These are 1K resistors, power 1K resistors, because they're supposed to be 2 watt resistors. On the defective amplifier, I mean the defective channel of the amplifier, we had, I will show you in a zoom out in a bit, we had 2 resistors which were burned. They're taken away here. It's this one to this one, okay, and the other one was in there. It's here to there, okay. So those 2 resistors were burned. That's the first thing that I noticed, just tracing a bit the amplifier and trying to find where the problem lied. In fact, some of the things that I saw was that no matter what, there were still problems. I thought first that the problems were lying with the contact, the switches here. In fact, they were not. I later found out that the problems were coming from the op-amps right here, tracing a little bit the signal and trying to figure out what was going on. In fact, it didn't make much sense, and that led to the conclusion that probably there were some solder joints that had gone. The problem with these amps are the overheating. You see there are lots of holes here, but that's not enough. They do tend to overheat, particularly because those resistors eat up quite a bit, the transistors here, these 2, so the whole thing, without talking about the power transistors. This all brings lots of thermal constraint on the PCB, and those PCB of the time apparently had difficulty handling that over a long period. So this led to, in fact, some solder joints being called. So I resoldered the joints on those, and eventually that I mean the problem went away once obviously the resistor had been replaced. I'll show you on the schematic where they lie. The main thing is that if you don't get away with contact problems, then most likely you have a cold solder joint somewhere, and that's a little bit more difficult to find. You don't see very much. I saw also that when I did the mod afterwards, the PCB wasn't holding so well. It's easy to get a pad off, and so on and so forth. So it's, I mean, the quality of the PCB with the age can be a problem. And that's where most of the problem lies. Besides, the caps and everything were good. None of that had to be changed. I tested everything and it was perfectly all right. Okay, just for reference, that's the phono preamp right here. That section is there, and then the signal goes over there to enter right here, and then be with a different stage up to the power section. Okay, we'll go over it in the schematic now. So here we go with the schematic. You can see it's both sheets. That's from the service manual. You see this is the same part on both sides. It's not so convenient, but that's the way the schematic is in the service manual. So the two resistors we talked about are these ones here. They're called 2 watt 1K R642 and R644. Watch out, I will try to zoom if we can see the part, sorry. Anyway, we see one of them right there. Sorry, the other way around. Okay, and the numbers vary from one side to the other. Here, it's what's referenced on the schematic is the left side. So what you do get when you go to the right side, it's reference of the transistors or resistors get number 1 up compared to the one you have on the schematic, the actual schematic. So again, 644 and R642 were the ones which were at fault. I checked everything else and everything looked fine. The signal was flowing fine. I was having back and forth and things were not stable, so I looked at the contacts, I restored them. No matter what I did, there were still problems. So eventually I checked around that preamp. I mean, that's the 5532, the op-amp that feeds into the transistors. And some things were not explicable. I could not quite understand what was going on between the right and the left channel. Something didn't make sense. So eventually I started resoldering the joints and that solved the problem. So in fact, the problem was cold solder joint around here. So I redid a few more just to be on the safe side and not to have any mishaps later on. Okay, that was fairly easy. That's all there is. The big part was that with the solder joints that you really don't know where to look for. They don't look like they're cracked or anything. You just have to take a wild shot at it and go for resoldering a lot of them, and then you eventually find the one that doesn't work. The other thing is, after all this, those two resistors, first of all, were replaced by 2 watts, but that turned out to be not enough. I used afterwards 3 watts, which are much better in comparison to the current that's flowing through them and the overheating that might go on. Nevertheless, I still, when I compared to this channel to the other one, which was not defective, I had an overheating, especially of those 2 transistors, plus the resistors that were heating up quite a bit. So that led me to have a look on internet and check to see if I could find any mods that might change that and improve on that. In fact, I found on do-it-yourself audio a mode which was supposed to be for RA820s, 840s, etc., etc. It turned out it wasn't exactly. It was for RA820s, and you have to make some different modification for the 840. I mean, in fact, you have to omit a certain number of things that were given in that modified schematic. Well, I will go into it in another video in detail. So that's it for now for the RA840. The repair was done. I haven't changed both channels so as to be able to compare what I will do in another video, performance between what I repaired and modified afterwards and the original. Voila, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon. Hello again. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and push on the like button if you did. Hope to see you soon on the channel, and thank you for watching.